Hello, Wanderers. Welcome to a brand new Crusader Kings 3 roleplay series with the All Under Heaven expansion. I am very excited to bring this one to you guys. I have been waiting for this one since it was announced, the Far East edition to the game. I'm a big fan of this region from a historical perspective, and not only does it add plenty of new cultures and new religions, and obviously an entire half of the map to play in, but it also adds some unique mechanics as well that hopefully we will get to explore a little bit as the series progresses. I did get the chance to partner up with Paradox for this one, so I have been playing around with this expansion for a little while now, and I think I've cooked up a pretty interesting story here, and that is a story following the character we see on our screen right now, Hime Kushime, and we are going to learn a little bit about her in just a moment here. But first, let's take a look at the map and find out where we are, and that is on the very northern tip of the island of Honshu, the main island of Japan. And our character is, as the title of this series has given away, the last Emishi. Maybe not the last Emishi of all the people, but the last chiefess of the Emishi. You can see there's only one county held by us. The rest of it is in the hands of the Yamato people. And we are the final bastion of this group. Now, who are the Emishi? The Emishi are an indigenous people to Japan. For those of you who are not aware of the deeper history of Japan, I'm sure we have many fans of the samurai eras and medieval Japan. But if you go quite far back, things get very interesting in the way that the various cultures and people migrated through this region. And the Emishi are descended from perhaps one of the first people to migrate into this region. Now, they possibly descended from the Jomon people, which were an early indigenous group to Japan. The Emishi and the Ainu and the Jomon were all probably related to some extent, though to how much there was intermingling as the Yamato people came over is, from what I understand, still not necessarily completely clear. Now, the Yamato people, it is presumed that they came from the Korean peninsula, so they were coming in from this region and then making their way further up north through the Japanese archipelago, pushing out the Jomon people and the Emishi people later on, until this point that we find ourselves in here, where we are the last. If you're a little bit curious about the Emishi people, and there isn't that much information on them, at least in Western writing, there might be a little bit more in Japanese writing, but one depiction of them that you might be a little bit familiar with is in the Studio Ghibli movie Princess Mononoke. The Prince Ashitaka, I believe the character's name is in that, the main character in there. He is actually a prince of the Emishi people. So if you're a little bit curious about them, I would highly recommend that. If you haven't seen Princess Mononoke, that's just a good recommendation anyways. But it's interesting in that it depicts an Emishi character, which we don't necessarily see all that often. Yeah, that's a little bit of a background, but who is our character? Who is Kushime of the Emishi people? As you can see just by taking a look at our character and our family here, you can see that we are the last of our lineage. Our father, Kuniharu, and our three brothers are all slain, and they are all dead at the hands of one man, and that is Daimyo Kiyohara Yoshimochi. And he is the daimyo of Akita, which is obviously here just to our south, and he essentially laid waste to our family. So Kushime is the last survivor of her family. When her family was massacred, she was indeed captured by the daimyo here and subjected to horrors which we shall not name. Horrors that have left her not only without a family, but also bearing a child. Now, Kushime, having survived what happened to her family, what happened to her tribe or clan, has become something of a figure of not necessarily hope, but maybe a figure of vengeance. The people, the last of her people, have rallied around her as she intends to wreak vengeance upon those who harmed her family and to be the last defense of the Emishi people, and with any luck, to push back the Yamato people and reclaim our homeland. Because if you can take a see here, you can see that there is still Emishi culture here in the very north, and we want to take these lands back and perhaps even push further, because once upon a time all these lands belonged to our ancestors, and we are going to try to take it back. Let's take a look at our character here. We are vengeful, we are just, and we are brave. Our character, unlike some of the other ones that we have played, is not necessarily a warrior or a schemer or a politician. She is instead a mastermind philosopher. So we are something of a poet. We are shrewd. We are scarred, obviously, from what happened to us. In addition to that, a faithful blade and a forest fighter, because we have been leading our people in a guerrilla war since what has happened to us. And it is still the early stages of that. As you can see, it's only been 2 months since essentially our tribe was decimated. And we are on the path towards seeking our vengeance. Now, as we get started here, there are a few just basic things that I want to do. And number one is going to be to choose our lifestyle. I want to go for the learning lifestyle here because I do intend to reform our faith if we get the opportunity. So I think we're probably going to go for the theology focus here and become something of a religious figure. So that's what we're going to get first and foremost. The second thing is the opportunity to find a spouse. Now, obviously, we're obviously with child as it is, but when I was looking earlier, I saw this character, and this is immediately as we select the option to find a spouse, you'll see an interesting character right here, Shino Yamato Muniyasu. This is essentially a prince of the Yamato family, the Yamato clan, which is the imperial dynasty of Japan. Now, this is a historical character, this or historical person. He is attested to in historical literature as the second son of Emperor Ninmyo, but he never became emperor himself. So his older brother did, Yamato Montoku, and his slightly younger brother did, Yamato Tokiyasu. But Muniyasu never became emperor. And when I saw that, originally I thought it would be a little bit strange if we were to marry somebody from the Yamato clan. But I had this thought of this character, and we don't know much about this figure historically. All we know is that he was the son of the emperor, and he got skipped over when becoming the emperor himself. But I like the idea that perhaps the reason he was skipped over is because he was in exile, or he left his family behind, or something of that sort. And we can take a look at his traits, and I haven't changed anything here. The man is cynical, he is brave, and he is forgiving. He's also an astute intellectual. Actually, he's got pretty good prowess and learning and decent intrigue. And I actually like the idea of what if this was a character, or what if this person here, Muniyasu, abandoned his people? What if he was like kicked out of, maybe not kicked out, but like exiled from the family? What if he did something that forced him to leave and he ended up with the Emishi people and perhaps found himself an unlikely companion, an unlikely love with Kushime. And part of I think that's an interesting story for one thing, and it does offer us the interesting opportunity of perhaps having children with a claim on the chrysanthemum throne, the throne of the imperial dynasty of Japan. So yeah, I think that this is cool. I think that it's an interesting opportunity just because of the fact that this character is somebody that we can select for a marriage. You can see that there's a +1 acceptance here for a matrilineal marriage. So I imagine it as this character has come to us. We have maybe met in that 2-month time period since our tribe was attacked and destroyed. And yeah, I think that this is a cool addition to the story that will give our future characters perhaps some interesting claims. So I'm definitely going to do this because I want to see how that all plays out. So the last of the Emishi is going to marry a prince of the Yamato. And yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Let's get time rolling here. We do have one other thing, but we're going to take a look here first. Yeah, so we are going to be wed. You can probably ignore that little letter because, yeah, I don't think that his family would have really accepted that. But if he had wandered here himself and come to us, yeah, I think that makes sense, and I think it's a cool story there. Our character presumably doesn't have much lost love for the Yamato people, probably hates the Yamato people, but there's always that interesting love story of between two people who are meant to hate each other and yet perhaps bridging the gap between the cultures is the love that is blossoming between Muniyasu and Kushime. So yeah, I think that's just a kind of a cool thing that just came about from the fact that this character was an option to marry. Yeah, that's going to be that. I'm just going to take a look at these other smaller details just briefly here. We are of the Kamuism religion, which is an animistic religion that has some interesting additions to it. In the beginning, there was only mud, and it is the first of the Kamui, the spirits, that made the world as it is now, and it is through the intercession of the ape Kamui that humanity may draw on the powers of the spiritual world. I may be pronouncing this wrong, so please do feel free to offer some potential corrections in the comments below, but you guys know how it is with me. Regardless, our tenets, our communal identity, our faith, and our culture are intrinsically linked together. This practice strengthens the bonds of our community, though it tends to exclude foreigners. So this makes total sense for the story that we're playing out here. Tends to exclude foreigners, but does not say exclusively excludes foreigners. So our new husband is the one exception to the rule. Obviously, there is some ancestor worship going on here, so our ancestors watch over us from beyond the grave, guiding us and showing us the way forward. For this, we must respect and honor them. And then the sanctity of nature, which makes a lot of sense for an animistic religion. The natural world is the creation of the divine, and we are merely guests in it. We must respect and honor every tree, every animal, and even the ground itself. And we won't go too much through the rest of this, though I will point out that witchcraft is virtuous, and if we do get the opportunity to become a witch, I think that we will probably do. And like I said, we are going to attempt to reform the faith if the opportunity comes about. So that's that. And then our Emishi culture here. We have the Ainuic heritage, so we are related to the Ainu people, but we use the Japonic language. So we have obviously had a lot of contact with the Yamato people, and so we've adopted some of their language. As for our traditions, we've got prolific hunters, we've got isolationists, forest fighters, and sacred hunts. So hunts are going to be a big part of what we've got going on. We can also reform our culture And we got a decent amount of prestige, which I think just got boosted up because of the marriage that we got, which is actually awesome. The question is, what do we want to do for that? We could go for... There's a couple different options. Yeah, we'll take a look. Ooh, Yashima. What is this? The mountains and forests of the many islands of the Japanese archipelago rise and fall across the ocean, their inhabitants well versed in traversing its rugged and diverse landscapes. Gain prestige when completing buildings and holdings with either mountains or forest terrain. All Emishi characters, so our danger goes way down. All Emishi counties, development in hills, development growth in mountains. Actually, not so bad. I wouldn't even mind getting that, although there probably are some other ones. Let's see, regional? There's no regional ones, unfortunately. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think we should get. I'm willing to save up some more prestige to get something else, but I wouldn't mind nudists. Interesting. Probably not safe for YouTube, so don't pick that one. But yeah, let me know which one you guys think we should pick. A warrior one would be pretty good. Highland warriors probably could be decent because we are in a mountainous region. But yeah, we don't need to pick this yet, but I want to get started on one of these soon because they do take a few years to implement. Yeah, there's our culture, there's our story, and the characters that are going to be taking part in it. At least some of them. We're going to take a look at some of the other ones as we go through here. But as we get time rolling, one thing I want to do is call for confederation against the great powers who scorn the weak. The Emishi who fights alone will die alone. Yeah. If we take a look here, you'll see that even though we have a reasonable amount of troops, it's still very minimal when compared to our enemies with 5,600 troops compared to our, well, at best it's going to be maybe 800, 900 troops. So yeah, forming a confederation is going to be basically our lifelines. Let us find out who will stand with us. Rallying the tribes at the whim of the ape Kamui, my kuni can be broken like the shaft of a single arrow. For my modest tribe shares the land of Hitakami with such warbands as Emperor Yoshifusa's fearsome Yamato. But if my people's arrows were bound with those of friends and kin, could an enemy grip so easily shatter us? Brothers, sisters, name no master, but a voice for the tribes, a voice to scorn Emperor Yoshifusa and all the world. I must seek the willing. So let us take that option. And we will seek the willing because Fujiwara here, or the Fujiwara regent, Yoshifusa, is quite powerful. Now, I know I've been pausing it a lot here, but I just want to explain a little something that some of you might be curious about. And yes, the Yamato clan is the imperial family of Japan, and it still is to this day. It is the oldest imperial or royal dynasty of any that is still currently in existence. And the way that it's set up in this game, we have this Fujiwara emperor, though this character as a historical figure, from what I understand, was the regent for the Yamato emperor. And the way I think that the Crusader Kings 3 people have done it is that they have basically, the power was in the hands of the regent, and that's why he has the empire title, rather than having the emperor, who probably would be Aka here instead of Yoshifusa. But I think it's just a matter of the way that they set it up, and that is some of the, and I imagine this plays into the mechanics of the Japanese here, which I do believe has some special mechanics. So we might get to see that. I do want to get into some of that in this playthrough, but I wanted to start out with this story that we see here first before we dive into some of the unique mechanics that we get for the Japanese, and in addition to that for the Chinese as well. And yeah, you can see the massive addition to the world here. It's a much bigger game now. So yeah, that's what the situation is now, but we're playing a very focused story here. and I want to see how this all plays out. So we're gonna speed up time. I do want to see if maybe we can offer confederation to anybody here. Actually, will it offer us any chances? We can get a successor to our accolade, but I don't think we're gonna do that just yet. None of these guys want confederation. His realm does not border yours. Yeah, okay. Does this count as bordering us? Probably not. So we might not even be able to confederate with the Ainu, which is not ideal. Yeah, that's actually going to make things quite difficult. I was really hoping we could confederate with them. But technically, they are not bordering us, which is causing... What is that? That's not the biggest. Cultural acceptance, base reluctance, his realm does not border yours. Arrogant, stubborn. Yeah, has no neighboring ruler worth confederating it. Ah, yeah, okay. So we might actually be on our own. So that is not good. Maybe if we were to attack them and take that region, but I don't know if that makes sense for our character. Not in this moment to go and attack these guys over here, the Ainu. They are our cousins. I'd much rather get them on our side as allies than as enemies. So we might just need to seek alliances through marriage and things like that. So yeah, not ideal situation, obviously, but we will make do with it as we can. Let's take a look at our court as we let time roll on here. And I'm just letting our troops fill up and I'm letting things go on here. My master of the hunt, Koakano, brings word of beasts spotted in my realm. I am hearing much talk from the Kuni of Sugaru. It is said that there are many excellent prospects for hunting thereabouts, with many a worthy stag seen roaming the valley. So this is our spy master and master of the hunt, Koakano. You can see he's a bit of a recluse, but a very skilled hunter and one who is going to prove himself very useful to us, considering the focus that our culture puts on hunts. So we do have a hunt that we will be able to do. The rest of our characters, as we take a look at them, we have an interesting court shaman, Waraji. This is basically, how to even describe this man? Just take a look at his traits. Lunatic, possessed, and stupid, but he is a wise man, a physician. He basically grew up as essentially like a wild child and a wild man, but he learned the ways of the forest and he learned the medicines and things like that. And he has become something of a respected figure, I suppose you could say, in some ways. Probably disdained in some ways, but his knowledge cannot be denied. And so he is our court shaman. We have Ime Kanu, who is an Ainu storyteller, a poetess who follows the traditional Ainu poetry. She has come here to assist us because of our people being pushed away. She has come to write our stories and hopefully write the story of the resurgence of our people here. She has come to us for that. We have Kozan here as well. He cut, as they say, as a young child, though he had a great intellect despite some deformities, and he knows his way around coins. Although we are a tribal people, he knows bartering, he knows trade, he knows how to make deals with the Yamato merchants and things like that, and so he's going to be very useful to us. Then we have Aritsune, who is a Yamato warrior, actually. As you can see, he's our marshal, but he is Yamato. And how did he come to join us? This is one of the commanders of the Grand Daimyo Yoshimine Tsuneo. And if we take a look at Aritsune's history, you'll see that he had a spouse, an Emishi woman, who was executed by the daimyo. And so that is why he has ended up with us. He is fighting against his people because of what they did to the woman that he loves. And then, of course, we have Koakano here as well. I'm actually tempted to arrange a marriage between Koakano and Ekanu here. I just think that's an interesting relationship, and I do want to get these characters having some kids to populate our court later on. They're both depressed, which could be worse, I suppose, but yeah, we'll get that marriage going there. Let's see if we can find somebody for... Oh, no, wait, we can't find a marriage for Kozan, because a marriage won't really do him much good. And Aritsune, he's not going to be getting married anytime soon. And yeah, Waraji, probably wouldn't want to marry him. But yeah, that's gonna be that. Do we want to do a hunt in order to gain the blessing of the gods? We got the stag sighting, we got the mountains. The hunt would be good here, so I think that we are going to try it. I want to keep this relatively cheap, so I think that's what we're gonna do. We can't go for success. The Emishi culture does not allow women to be combatants. That's a little bit unfortunate, but we might change that when we reform the religion and reform the culture. But yeah, let's go with, in that case, do we want to befriend somebody? Befriend our husband, perhaps. Oh, seduce our husband. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna go for this. We take a look at our guests, and yeah, it's just people in our court, which is fine. So let us go ahead and do that. Let's do this hunt. As we await the arrival of the rest of the guests, our servants go on. All right, let us see how the hunt plays out here. Kozan assembles the party as the sun rises over the camp in the mountains near Sugaru. My men have been gathering sightings of the stag that roams the local area. The local gamekeepers have scoured the vicinity for recent tracks. Let's get out there, or we could hunt something with Vim. Now let's go after the stag. That's what we spotted in the region. Let's see here. Perhaps today I will win over my man, Muniyasu. 'Tis a fine day for it. I trust you are enjoying yourself. I do pity the animals. Rather be doing something useful. Appeal to his diligent side, to his stewarding side, or to his compassionate side. He is a forgiving man. Let's try with that option here. He seems to have reacted warmly to my gambit, lamenting the violent sports of our time and class. Yeah, okay. This is an interesting character, right? He's not necessarily... He's like a warrior scholar because he does have good prowess, but his learning, he's very well learned, and he's brave, but forgiving, cynical. Yeah, a cool character. I'm glad that we have him as part of our story like this. There we go. So let us continue on with the hunt. My Bushi Suhoro went ahead of the group, chasing the stag alone. When I catch up to him, I find him standing over a woman, tugging an arrow from the poor commoner's chest. He hides the arrow behind his back when he spots me. Kime, it wasn't my fault, I swear. Soon enough, the rest of the party will catch up and demand an explanation. Suhoro, one of my warriors. He fought valiantly to save her. I saw it. No. Quickly help me hide the body. No. You must answer for this, Suhoro. We are just. You exposed the murder seeker. Peasant justice. Too bad the beast got you too. No, let us do the just thing. He gains the murder secret because he murdered Asami. Yeah, I think that's... We can't imprison him because we need to... Okay, we need to increase our tribal authority. Yeah, let's do that. Let's pass the law and let us imprison this man who committed such a foul crime. It's an act of tyranny? No, this isn't an act of tyranny. He committed the crime of murder. My court shaman, Waraji, is the first to spot it. The flighty male is hard to distinguish, but there's no doubt it's there observing us through the sparse pines. After it, we ride. This method is more perilous. Let's do it. All right, let us go for it. Yeah, we have apprehended him, and we will dispense justice here. All right, 60% chance. I never get lucky on these hunts. We can hardly keep up with the blasted beast. The damn thing is gone. Oh, come on. That was a bad sign. I'd never succeed in hunts. Let us leave this adventure behind for now. Not a good sign that our hunt failed and we failed to seduce our husband here, but such as it is, we did gain the hunter trait. I suppose we should hold out then and plan for the future. Can we construct something here? It's gonna take a little while. We need some money. The signs are not good. The hunt was not successful. So we should take that as an ill omen, I would imagine here. And consider what we do from here. We can do raiding, which is nice. Ooh, capturing. This could actually be, quite useful. But yeah, let us see just how things play out a little bit. I'm really hoping that we see some conflict within the realm of the Yamato so that we can capitalize on the chaos, but we shall see how long it takes for it to play out. Like I said, there are new mechanics for the Japanese and the Chinese as well, which we will hopefully get into at some point, but we will see how this plays out here. My newborn son sleeps so sweetly, blessedly unaware of the curse which will follow him for the rest of his life. To be a bastard is not an easy thing in this world, nor is it to be the mother of one. Even as my babe slumbers, I am kept awake by the choice I must make. Yeah, so we've got Shiko. We can legitimize him as our own. I don't see why we wouldn't. What kind of name? Satsuko, Ayashibe, Komahiru. Do we want to name him after our father, perhaps? Kuniharu? I think that might be good to honor our father. I will legitimize him as my own. Yeah, we absolutely will, because I don't really see any reason not to there. So yeah, we've got our son Kuniharu, who has the blood of our enemy, of our nemesis in him, but he is our son. Half Yamato, half Emishi. Yeah, like I said, I'm excited for this story because I think that there's something really cool here. I was inspired to do this mostly by the story of Boudica, and I feel like there's a lot of similarities there between the historical figure of Boudica, or the semi-legendary historical figure, and what is going on with the Emishi and what was going on with the Britons during that time period. So I think that there's a lot of similarities, and it inspired this idea of this character, Kushime, who is the last of our people. And yeah, I'm excited to play through this. I hope that you guys are as well. If you want to get characters in this series, it is not too late. We could use some more warriors to fill out our ranks, the ranks of our Bushi. So if you want to make a character, make sure to join below. There is also a free weekend for the Crusader Kings 3 game going on, so make sure to take a look at the link down below. It will be going on, I believe, from the end of October to early November there. So yeah, if you haven't played Crusader Kings 3 yet, certainly check it out, because it is a free weekend and you will get an opportunity to see what this new expansion has to offer for yourself. So until the next one, Wanderers, thank you so much for watching. I've been Stray, you have all been wonderful, and I will see you in the next episode.